Many football players hope to reach the pinnacle of their sport so they can support their families and make them proud while doing so. But not every football player has that as their goal, since there are many who have no regard for their families at all. The first is Virgil van Dijk. Have you ever noticed that the center back for Liverpool lacks a last name on the back of his jersey? That's typically the first clue that not everything is fine at home. It isn't all that fantastic in the Dutchman's case, in fact. According to one of his uncles, Van Dijk has fallen out with his family, especially his father, Ron van Dijk, which is why he only uses his first name, Virgil, on his kids. Ron abandoned Virgil and his siblings when he was still a little child, leaving his mother to care for them all alone, claims his uncle Steve. The defender made the decision not to wear his father's name on his back while he is on the pitch every day, since he has not been able to forgive him for it and doesn't feel particularly attached to him. Yes, due to the fact that Dele Alli does not feel a connection to his family. He also wears his first name on the back of his shirt. The father of the Everton midfielder is Nigerian, and the mother is British. He entirely blamed his parents for the turbulent upbringing he experienced as a child. Within a week of his birth, he arrived in the UK. His mother reared him by herself throughout his early years because his father left for the United States. But his mother's alcoholism was the issue. So at the age of 9, he relocated to Nigeria to live with his father. After living there for 2 years, he returned to the UK to live with his mother once more. But by the time he turned 13, he was done with his family entirely. He moved in with the parents of one of his teammates back at MK Dons and has been there ever since, entirely separating from his own parents. Despite the fact that Alan and Sally Hick were never formally his adoptive parents, he still refers to them as such. He opted to cease using the name Ali on the back of his shirt in 2016 after joining Spurs because he had no ties to the family name. Memphis comes in third. Yes, the Barcelona forward solely uses his first name in an official capacity. He claimed that his father had abandoned him when he was just 4 years old, and he didn't consider it appropriate to continue using the name of a man who had hurt him so deeply. However, in a surprising development, the footballer's father, Dennis Dye, publicly denied the allegation a few years back. He acknowledged that he and Memphis's mother's marriage had broken down, but he argued that he was still actively involved in their lives. He even claimed to have given Memphis the first ball. Therefore, it really saddened him to watch his son, a successful football player now, openly break relations with him. The facts of the matter are still unknown, but Memphis made the decision to quit wearing his last name on his shirt in 2012. "Do not call me the Pie," he even very famously said. "Dial Memphis for me." Fourth is Mario Bat. Belly now completely changed the name of his birth parents that was previously printed on his shirt, Mario Barua. The striker was born to Ghanaian parents who had immigrated to Italy before he was even a year old. Belly's birth parents could not afford to care for him because of some major health conditions. He was thus taken away from them and given to Sylvia and Francesco Ball as foster parents. The original plan was for him to spend the week with the palace and spend the weekend with his biological parents. However, somewhere along the way, it appears that something went wrong, and he just started living with the Balls full-time and eventually took on their last name. However, they never formally adopted him. Thus, he had to wait until he was 18 years old in 2008 to become an Italian citizen. He dedicated both of his goals from Italy's semi-final victory over Germany at Euro 2012, which helped Italy advance to the final, to his adoptive mother, Sylvia. The Bar has scarcely ever spoken to his biological parents since he rose to fame. It's as if he has completely forgotten about them. The fifth person is Ainsley MaitlandNiles. What is known about Ainsley is that he was raised by simply his mother Jules and his brother Cordy, but at some point, something very significant must have gone wrong because he doesn't appear to love his mother at. Jules said a few years ago that she had to sneak into a warehouse every night to sleep in the frigid storage since her millionaire's kid had abandoned her. Given that Ainsley made his Arsenal debut as a teenager, It would imply that the mother-son relationship ended when he was around 20 years old. They were still getting along at the moment, but in 2015, she is claimed to have gotten into a fight with Arsenal's top negotiator that turned violent and resulted in her being imprisoned. He said he was going to fring that shirt and present it to his mother. After everything was resolved, she was given a brief vacation in Australia by Ainsley. Her boys abandoned her and moved out of the home they shared with her after she returned, leaving her on her own. There isn't much information on the specifics of the situation, since neither of the lads has spoken much about it. Lucas and Tio Hernandez are in position 6. Tio and Lucas Hernandez, who play for AC Milan and BA Munich, respectively, also don't get along well with their dad. Even his own mother was accused of practicing voodoo against him by the former man, a city man, who claimed he cut her off because of it. When questioned about it, he responded, "How am I going to contact my mom if she is the one telling everyone that my work will not proceed?" Families breaking up is a fairly terrible situation, and you have to feel bad for these men since you wouldn't want this to happen to anyone. Anyway, don't forget to activate the bell notify and subscribe to the channel.